Hello students, today we are going to see the fifth chapter of Social Science Movement Towards Independence. The period from 1920 to 1947 is considered as Gandhian age and the Gandhian movements of struggle for independence. This second stage of national movement of India is the struggle for having constitutional rights. Moreover, it is the struggle for the freedom of India too. This struggle passed through a stream of events, and there was a uniform effect of it. So, we shall observe the effects in this chapter. The first topic of this chapter is Simon Commission. Simon Commission 1942. Montagu-Chelmsford 1919 amendment declared that a commission should be sent to India after 10 years to examine the effects and operations of the constitutional reforms and to suggest more reforms for India. But 2 years later, government appointed Simon Commission. The commission consisted Sir John Simon and 7 others, the members of the British Parliament. There was not a single Indian member. Indians recommended inclusion of Indian members in the commission so as to understand the problems and the pains of Indian society, but Britishers rejected these recommendations. So the Indians decided to oppose. They decided to oppose the Simon Commission with the help of strikes, processions, assembly, then loud slogans like Simon Go Back and unfurling black color flag and the wearing black color apparels. The British government suppressed the movement mercilessly. The assistant police superintendent ordered lathi charge on Lalaji's procession. Lala Lajpat Rai was injured seriously and then, while taking the lead of the procession in Lahore, few months later he passed away. The news of Lalaji's death instigated Veer Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, and Rajguru, and therefore they killed Saunders. Our next topic is Nehru Committee. With the opposition of Simon Commission, Hindi Wazir Burkenhead presented a draft. The draft of the Constitution, as in Simon Commission, in which it stated that the Indian leaders of all the parties formulate appropriate constitution which the British government will further think upon. So, by understanding the challenges of this report, National General Assembly President drafted Nehru Committee report. This report, which was given, was known as Nehru Report, and it states the dominion status, independent judiciary, fundamental rights, and adult suffrage. Eventually, the British government rejected the recommendations made in this report. The youth of India and the president of National General Assembly drafted a Nehru Committee report, and then that report was also named as Nehru Report because it was prepared by Motilal Nehru, father of Jawaharlal Nehru. And in this particular report, they wanted certain things. They wanted independent judiciary. They wanted fundamental rights. They wanted adult suffrage, dominion status. But the British government, they rejected this recommendation made in this report. After the rejection of this report, there was a demand for complete independence in 1929. During this time, National Assembly members like Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose, they were active national leaders. They were the propagators of complete independence, and youth of India were not happy with the dominion status. And on the bank of river Ravi in Lahore, Under the leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru, the National General Assembly they passed a resolution, and the resolution was of complete independence. And on 26th January 1930, the members they took the oath of complete independence. The members of National Assembly they took the oath of achieving complete independence, and because of the date 26th January, it has become a memorable day for every one of us. Independent India has made the Republic Day memorable by implementing the Constitution of India on this day. Now we are going to move towards our next topic, that is Dandi Yatra. Dandi Yatra, that is from 12th March to 6th April, and Gandhiji, as a part of civil disobedience movement, decided to go to Dandi village by its sea coast to break the salt law. On the 11th March evening, the message was passed to thousands of people, the message of Satyagraha, and it was sent. Even if people got arrested with firm determination of non-violence, there was a struggle against government. And on 12th March 1930, under the leadership of Gandhiji, there was Dandi Yatra commenced with the supporters of Gandhiji, and the Dandi Yatra started from the Harijan Ashram, Sabarmati. And there was a loud singing of the hymn Vaishnav Janto Tehne Kahi Chipir Parai Jane Re. And Gandhiji he said in this Dandi Yatra that I shall die the death of crow and dog, but I will not return to this ashram without attaining Purna Swaraj. And this was the words of Gandhiji. I shall die the death of crow and dog, but I will not return to the ashram without attaining Purna Swaraj. Gandhiji, with his supporters, started the Dandi March, and this march was 370 kilometers long, included Aslali, Bareja, Nadiad, Anand, Buryavi, Ras, Jambusar, Bharuch, Surat, Navsari, as well as small and large regions. During Dandi March in this region, people were explained the reason for civil disobedience movement and the reason for breaking the salt law. As Dandi Yatra was moving ahead, all the nation was having a wave of satyagraha. Gandhiji reached Dandi after 20 days of march, that was 5th April. During Dandi March in these regions, people were explained the reasons. They were made understand the breaking of the salt law. And as Dandi March passed through this particular small and large towns, people used to clean the village roads, they used to decorate their houses with torrents, and then they showed concerns for the Satyagraha. Dandi Yatra had a wonderful effect in creating astonishing faith, unity, and consciousness among people. All of the nation was having a wave of Satyagraha. Gandhiji, along with his colleagues and supporters, reached Dandi after 20 days of march, that is 5th April 1930. And on early morning, 6th April, Gandhiji broke the salt law by taking a handful of salt from the sea coast. And in a loud voice, he said that I, by this event and applying salt to the foundation of building in the form of British Empire, I have broken the salt law. And this way Gandhiji announced the breaking of the salt law. Historians of India, the writers, photographers, and journalists across the world. They visited and published the report about what they witnessed in their own newspaper and booklets. And this way, the Dandi Yatra, which started from Sabarmati Ashram on 12th March, was nationally acclaimed, achieved its physical completion, but it started applying salt to the foundation of building in the form of British Empire. Civil disobedience movement generated new national consciousness among people of India. Numerous constructive programs like boycott of foreign clothes, prohibition of liquor, then removal of untouchability, Hindu Muslim unity, and so many things came out in the form of social service. The British police even beat the children, the women, the workers mercilessly. Lathi charge, arrest, shooting, and oppression was continued, but agitation did not decrease. Our next topic is Gandhi Irving Pact. Because Dandi Yatra and breaking of salt law brought not only nationwide consciousness, but it brought fame in aspect of non-violent struggle and movements worldwide. The programs and assemblies and processions conducting for boycotting foreign goods and picketing on liquor making, then not giving revenue tax, satyagraha for removal of untouchability, and to weaken this particular agitations and struggles, the government started lathi charge, imprisonment, and so many atrocities on the people. People reacted by destroying railway stations, post office, police station, and other government buildings. And so many places like Bombay, then Gharasla in Surat, Viramgam, the salt law agitation and renunciation of government services, as well as the removal of children from government schools, they were the major highlights of this movement. And because of that, there was an impact. And Gandhi Irving Pact, a roundtable conference, was held. Gandhiji was called upon by the Britishers for the Round Table Conference related to the constitutional structure and reforms. First Round Table Conference was held in the absence of Congress leaders, but it was a failure. And to reconcile with Congress, a pact between Gandhiji and Irving was made, which was known as Gandhi-Irving Pact in March 1931, in which permission for free collection and manufacture of salt by the person near the sea coast. Peaceful picketing were the main points. In the second roundtable conference, Gandhiji was the only representative from Congress, and Britishers had discriminating points for various religious committees, to which Gandhiji was deeply disappointed, and therefore the conference was dissolved. Quit India movement. Keeping in mind the World War situation, the Congress Working Committee decided to end the individual satyagraha. In January 1942, the British government attempted to dissolve people of India by Cripps mission. So Indians were angry and dejected. So the people of India, they have no longer faith in British rulers. They assumed that the British they did not wish to quit India. Gandhiji advised the people to come out of despair and wanted them to be prepared to give a new and last fight. On 9th August 1942, a resolution of Quit India movement was passed by the Working Committee of Congress, which was held at Mumbai. On the second day of resolution, Gandhiji, Vallabhbhai Patel, Jawaharlal Nehru, Maulana Azad, and other eminent Congress leaders were arrested. Newspapers were banned, regional and district level Congress leaders they were also arrested. Arrest of Gandhiji and other leaders resulted in nationwide strike, And to this, Gandhiji said, "This is the last fight in my life, and therefore people of India should make all attempt to achieve independence." And he gave one more slogan, that is, do or die. And then there were certain strikes during Quit India movement in the rural as well as the urban areas of the country. And in this particular strike, so many people were involved, like workers, farmers, youth, students, teachers, businessmen, and women. They were the forefront fighters of this movement. Workers went on strikes in factories, iron factories in Jamshedpur and cotton mills at Madras. They were also on strike. 1 lakh male workers of 75 cotton mill industries in Ahmedabad went on peaceful strike for 105 days. Colleges and schools they observed strike, and for nearly 3.5 months markets in Ahmedabad were closed due to the strike. Now let us see the harmful activities during Quit India movement. Anger against British government was being expressed in every nook and corner of the country, and Britishers they led to a violent situation as people not only ransacked the post offices, telegraph departments, police stations, railway stations, school and college building, railway lanes, pools, bridges, roads, but they looted the assets and they set on the fire the government properties. And this railway incurred the heaviest loss. In many areas, people were using bomb. Failure of the government in crushing the struggle. The government tried to suppress the movement with hard hand. The struggle started from a small end to a large extent by ransacking government system. More than 70,000 people were imprisoned. 538 gunshots were fired. 128 people lost their lives. 3,200 people they were injured. This movement gave clear warning to the British government and a message to the world at large that India cannot be enslaved anymore. The struggle really signaled by the people of India to the Britishers that now there is a time to quit India. The people of India now wanted full independence. They wanted to achieve complete independence, Purna Swaraj, and the amendment for dominion status was almost invisible by the struggle. And after a struggle of 5 years, India achieved independence. Let us see about Azad Hind Fauj and Subhash Chandra Bose. Subhash Chandra Bose was born in Cuttack in Orissa state on 23rd January 1987. His father, Rai Bahadur Janakinath Bose, was a government lawyer in British judiciary. His mother, Parvati Devi, was a philanthropist, and it was said that this Bengali lad will become sincere servant of Britishers. He went to become a staunch freedom fighter against British Empire. He passed out with very good marks from Calcutta's Presidency College. Then he went to England for further studies. There he passed a very difficult exam for Indian Civil Service, that is ICS, at fourth number, and then he returned to Calcutta. He was very much interested in Indian independence struggle, and seeds of revolution were planted in his mind due to insulting attitude and pride of the British professors at the Presidency College towards the Indian. He was very much interested in the Indian independence struggle. He became an active member of National Assembly. He joined Swarajya Party in 1923. He soon became very popular leader among youths. He was in the top of civil disobedience movement and therefore he has to go for prison many times. At the age of 41, he was elected as a president of Congress convention at Haripura, Surat, and showcased his ability. He left the Congress because of certain difference of opinion with Gandhiji. He established a party, the Forward Bloc, to awaken plebiscite against Britishers. He travelled most of the regions of India. He was arrested under Indian Defence Code and then he was imprisoned. During his imprisonment, he was ill treated. Very bad treatment was given to him in the prison. He was imprisoned at his place of residence as his health was deteriorating since he was fasting unto the death. But then he travelled in disguise of Pathan from Calcutta to via Peshawar to Kabul, Iran, Russia, and later on he reached Germany. And then, after reaching Germany, he urged the people of India through Berlin radio to fight against British Empire. He also met Hitler in Germany and he discussed with him about the independence of India. After meeting Hitler, then he went to Rome and Paris to establish military unit for the independence of India. There he recruited 3,000 Indians as a soldier. Ras Bihari Bose, a revolutionary living in Japan, he changed all the organization and established Indian Independence League. And Azad Hind Fauj was also set up to make India free. A presence of 100 Indian delegates from Malaya, Japan, Sumatra, Java, Hong Kong, Borneo, Andaman, Burma, that is Myanmar, they were all in the organization, and in that Mohan Singh, a war prisoner arrested by Japan, he was also present. Ras Bihari Bose voluntarily retired as the head of INA. Azad Hind Fauj and the Indian Independence League. Subhash Chandra Bose, he reached Japan from Berlin in a submarine in 1943. Moreover, Ras Bihari Bose of Indian Independence League invited Subhash Chandra Bose to be the head of this league. Japan would provide every kind of help for the Indian freedom, and it was a promise given as the Japanese army advances towards India, capturing Indian provinces. Provisional governments would be formed and Japan would give them recognition. So, this was the promise given by Japan. On 2nd July 1943, Subhash Chandra Bose went to Singapore from Japan and there he was elected as the president of Indian Independence League. Moreover, Ras Bihari Bose voluntarily retired as the head of Indian National Army, that is Azad Hind Fauj, and he appointed Subhash Chandra Bose as the head of INA. Indians who were living there, they got a proper and able leader for freeing their motherland. Since then, Subhash Chandra Bose was called Netaji. In his speeches on radio, he gave slogans. Chalo Delhi. Let's march to Delhi. तुम मुझे खून दो, मैं तुम्हें आज़ादी दूंगा. Give me blood, I'll give you the freedom. So these were the slogans given by Netaji. With his skillful guidance, he formed a parallel government and he tried to convince and urge the Indians residing in Southeast Asia to sacrifice everything for the struggle of independence of India. There was the provision of government by Subhash Chandra Bose. And in this particular provisional Indian government, he became its prime minister. And then he allotted other department to his companions. He also formed a cabinet, and this government was recognized by Japan, Germany, Italy, even China and Burma. This government recognized Hindi as a national language and tricolor as a national flag. It was decided to have income by assisting Japan, independent rule, and by property tax. Netaji visited Andaman and Nicobar Island and named it as Sahid and Swaraj. So now what are the last step for the martyrdom of Subhash Babu? In May 1944, under the leadership of Netaji, his military units captured Rangoon from Kohima, that is presently the capital of Nagaland, and then reached Imphal. Now it is Manipur. But after the dropping of atom bombs at Nagasaki and Hiroshima, Japan, the financial assistance to the provisional government, stopped. British aircraft started warfare against Azad Hind Fauj, and the condition became critical. So, on August 18, 1945, Subhash Chandra Bose started from Taipei airport of Formosa for Tokyo, Japan, but it is said that his plane caught fire and he got serious burns, and while undergoing treatment, he died. The mystery of his death has remained unsolved till today. We are not knowing whether he was there in the plane, whether he died or not, but still it is a mystery. Achieving independence and partition of India. On February 20, 1947, Italy, the Prime Minister of Britain, announced that the British government gave the powers to the government of India. These events with the naval mutiny of Bombay, the British realized their rule in India now is not going to be tenable. So the Prime Minister announced that they are going to hand over the powers of the government to the government of India as per the cabinet mission formula, and they will quit India by June 1948. Thus, in this changed situation, Mountbatten was appointed as a viceroy in place of Lord Wavell. When he took charge of his post, communal riots had started in India. The condition of India became pathetic. In July 1946, the Congress secured 201 seats and Muslim League secured 73 seats for the prior formation of the Constituent Assembly. The League pressurized the government for Pakistan on 16 August 1946. So terrible communal riots and tumult spread all over India. Looking at the situation in India, Sardar Patel, Jawaharlal Nehru, and other Congress leaders felt there was no other alternative except accepting the demand of Muslim League for Pakistan, because Muslim League and Jinnah insisted for separate Pakistan. The Muslim League boycotted the first cabinet meeting, which was held on 9th December 1946. The Muslim League executive held on January 31st, 1947 decided to boycott the cabinet meeting, and then they decided to give a rapid and extensive program for the demand of Pakistan. Mountbatten, the Viceroy of India, he convinced Nehru and Sardar Patel and understood the matter that having a well organized central government having administrative units under the center, it should be more peaceful and progressive instead of weak central government. And that is why the national leaders found this argument acceptable. Sardar Patel and Nehru discussed this matter with Gandhiji, and Gandhiji helplessly accepted the arrangement of partition of India with heavy heart. Mountbatten Plan 1947. On 24th March, Viceroy Mountbatten presented his scheme. According to him, there was no alternative other than the partition of India. National and prolific leaders like Sardar Patel understood the matter, and after many discussions and pondering, on June 3, 1947, Viceroy Mountbatten decided to plan the partition of India, and this plan is known as Mountbatten Plan. The Congress leaders and the Muslim League leaders they accepted this plan. When Mountbatten Plan started getting implemented, the people of East Bengal and Sylhet province of Assam they decided to join East Pakistan. West Bengal and East Bengal they were affiliated with India, and West Punjab joined with Pakistan, and it was decided to affiliate Northwest Province, Sindh and Balochistan with Pakistan. Indian Independence Act, July 1947. According to this, India's first Governor General, he was Mountbatten, and Janab Jinha was the Governor General of Pakistan. By this act, India's dependence on British rule came to an end, and the Gandhiji therefore said that the one and only best and beneficial act given by the Britishers to India. The last Viceroy of British government organized a function in New Delhi at the midnight of August 14, and the Union Jack of England was brought down from the pole and the Indian national flag was hoisted. The documents attributing independence to India were handed over by Mountbatten to C. Rajgopalachari. He was the first Governor General of independent India. The entire process was full of it was transfer of power and it was completed. On August 15, 1947, it was an excellent dawn for India. All celebrated the first independent festival very pleasantly and cheerfully in the entire country. Everywhere people hung torrents, a good omen on doors, sweets were distributed in schools. Many people who had taken vow felt relieved on its fulfillment. But Gandhiji was shocked because of the partition of India, and therefore he was deeply plunged into grief and then drifted into meditation. India becoming independent, and the immediate problems. India and Pakistan, two separate independent nations, came into existence as a result of Mountbatten Plan and Indian Independence Act 1947. But there was the problem. The resolution to the following problems had to be found out. What is the first problem? That was the reorganization of military forces. Earlier there was a combined military forces, but now it was the need to reorganize the military forces. Second, disputes over assets and properties. In both the boundaries, the territories, whatever assets and properties were there, there was a dispute. How to share the properties. Third, debts and credits. As a country whole, certain debts were there, certain credits were there, and how it can be divided or how it can be shared. Fourth, problem and settlement of refugees. The people who came from Pakistan to India and the people who went to Pakistan from India. They were considered as the refugees. So there was the problem for the settlement of these refugees. Then the public services, the arrangement of civil servants and administrative staff, how they will work in both the countries, demarcation of international boundaries, on eastern and western side of India. So these were the problems, the immediate problems occurred, and there should be a resolution to it. And because of this, there was a five-member committee under the chairmanship of Lord Mountbatten, consisting of two representatives each from India and Pakistan was formed. The committee appointed different commissions consisting of experts of relevant subjects to solve all the problems. In case of any difference of opinion, both the nations they admitted to accept the final decisions given by an arbitrator, the person who was in the middle, who was working as a middleman, consisting of one representative of India and one of Pakistan under the chairmanship of the former Chief Justice of India. Military Commandant General of India complied the partition of army military weapons. The British Army left India by February 28, 1948. The officers, employees of administrations, military, judiciary, this particular staff, they were given the opportunity to choose whether they would serve in India or they would serve in Pakistan. The British Army, as it left the territory, then there was assurance given to the staff about the pay, allowance, security of service, pension, etc. Large number of refugees from both the countries they migrated, leaving their houses and properties. So India solved the tremendous problem of the rehabilitation and restoration very skillfully and patiently. The then Deputy Prime Minister and Home Minister Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, he merged 562 small and big states, princely states of India, into Indian Union. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's strong determination, his iron will, his diplomatic negotiations with the king and the Nawabs solved the problem. Yet, long term planning to find a solution to problems like effects of communal riots due to partition, the shock of Mahatma Gandhi's death, to make independent India self reliant with the help of good governance, the weak condition of Indian agriculture, to create an atmosphere of peace and tranquility in the country, and the internal and external security of the country, etc. These particular points became necessary, and that is why good governance was required. Hence, along with all the trouble and all the problems, there was a very peaceful atmosphere created by the eminent leaders of those days. Hence, I hope you have understood the chapter. Thank you. Just read the chapter again and try to understand it. Thanks.